Marhaba, and welcome to the Matrix Green Pill, where real people connect.
Hello, and welcome back to the Matrix Green Pill podcast. Shireen with you guys today, here joined by my awesome co-host, Melwin. Welcome, Mel. How are you doing today?
Hey, Oz, I'm good, thank you. And as someone with a young daughter who loves stories, I'm particularly intrigued to speak to our guest today.
Yeah, it is definitely a great episode for all the parents and all the story lovers out there. Today, we want to introduce you to Sadia Anwar, who is a mother, an architect, an entrepreneur, and the founder of Storically. Storically is an online platform that creates personalized children's books to preserve personal history and amplify diversity. How cool! Sadia, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Shireen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. So, Sadia, let's start. Can you please tell our audience a little bit about you, your background, and how you ended up here in the UAE?
So, I am a Dubai kid. Dubai is home for me. My parents moved here in about 1989 or 1990. That makes it about 30 years that I've been here. I did half of my schooling here, and then I went back to my country, India, for my undergrad program, and then I've been back here in the year 2000. I've been here since then. This has been my base. I did my post-graduation with an executive program while based in Dubai. It was a Dubai-London program. So Dubai is absolutely home. And yeah.
Wonderful. I'm actually also a UAE kid, so I can relate to that. So, as I mentioned in the intro, you are an architect by profession. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It's interesting that you use the phrase by profession, because I would challenge that. I would say, how do you define by profession? Absolutely, my undergraduate degree was in architecture. I practiced it for a few years, but it's been a while. I would say I'm a creative wanderer. I've done a bit of professional photography. I've done exhibition design. I specialized in lighting design. I did a little bit of that. But for the last 8 or 10 years, I've been working in children's content, creating children's books, and things around building a community for kids, things like that. So I would define my profession as content creator for children today.
Okay,
I see.
so let's kind of delve deeper into that. Now we are aware, like you've already mentioned, you are a self-published author of 4 children's books and a creative wanderer. So, how did you get into writing?
I have actually always loved writing. As far back as I can remember, I've kept journals, and these haven't been journals with, like, a daily record of how my day has been. They have stories and poems and rambling thoughts. Also, it's hard to pinpoint a specific time when I decided to get into writing.
Hmm.
It started with my first startup, which is a startup called Bismillah Buddies. We built a community and we create content and events around Islamic themes, because that's something I found was lacking. And again, we noticed that there was a lack of relevant, age appropriate, fun content that shared Islamic themes or talked about Islamic themes to children. So we created some of our own. We published 3 Ramadan themed books, and then we wrote and published books for toddlers, which are sing and learn books, and you can scan the QR code and play a song. So it sort of just flowed from the objective of enriching our children's education in a space where we felt there was a lack of it. So it started, yeah, a need based by chance.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So, after writing these books, did you decide to start historically, or did it happen, the other way around?
It's sort of an organic growth. It flowed into each other. So the themes of, say, issues of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and identity, they've been recurring themes in what I do, what I'm interested in. Just the question of, what it means to be me. So that's how it sort of flowed into Storically, because with Bismillah Buddies, I was exploring one part of identity, and with Storically, we're exploring a broader definition of what identity means to children, how they understand themselves, how they fit into the world. And the story of how Storically started is really quite a fun one, because I saw an advert for a startup pitch contest. It asked for new ideas in digital publishing. It was
Okay.
conducted by Shira, which is an incubator in Sharjah. And I saw that there were some people from the publishing industry that I wanted to network with. So I decided to go to that event. And one day before, I said, well, if I am going there, I might as well pitch an idea. So after putting the kids to bed on a Wednesday night, I sat up till around 4 a.m. just thinking about what kind of content or what I would want to see in books and content for my children. And that's where the idea came up. At that time, it was called Epic Heirlooms. That's what I pitched at Shira.
Okay.
And I didn't expect anything out of it. I thought I'll go there, I'll meet these people, network, pitch my idea, be back by 1 o'clock to pick up my kids from school. But that's not how it turned out. I was shortlisted in the first round, and then there were panic phone calls to my husband, like, please pick up the kids, look after them for the weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday. And yeah, that's how Storically started.
Well, some story that is.
For sure. So Sadia, if I may ask, how many authors and designers do you have working alongside you to prepare these books for Storically?
So we are a lean startup structure. Right now, I have about 5 authors, but we work with them on a freelance basis. 2 of them are established published authors, 3 are amateurs. 1 of them is an avid blogger. Illustrators, we have a lot more. We have 3, I would say, regular freelancers, but now we're working on a Ramadan book. So we've got on board 5 more just to work on that particular book. We keep getting people as and when we need them. And we have, I would say, 5 authors and 3 illustrators who we work with on a regular basis.
Okay.
Awesome.
And anything that you want to tell us about this Ramadan book?
So this Ramadan book is called After Iftar Tales. It's a compilation of 10 stories by different authors. We've crowdsourced these stories and we're putting them in a book. They're just about, different cultures, different experiences around Ramadan. It's going to be fun.
Okay. And when is this book likely to come out?
It should be out a month before Ramadan.
Okay.
So again, there's two things. One is After Iftar Tales, and another one is 2 books that I'm doing for Storically, which can be personalized. One is called Hana and the Unicorn. It's about a little girl who flies on her unicorn to look for the crescent moon, so she knows Ramadan is starting. And there's an Eid book about a boy and his experience on Eid. These can be personalized. After Iftar Tales cannot be personalized. It's a reading book, just stories.
Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah. So how long would it usually take to create a new book after an order is placed?
That would depend. At Storically, we have 2 product types. The first product type is one where we have a pre-written story, like we had a Christmas book out in December, in which you go, the story is already there. You choose a character that resembles your child. You add in the name and whatever other details that are needed to personalize the book, and you personalize it, and that's it. This takes about 5 days, 5 to 7 working days to have the printed copy delivered to you. The second product type, which is the one I'm really excited about, is called Write Your Own Story. This is where we enable people to share stories from their personal history and heritage, and we convert it into a beautiful book for a child, something that a child can engage with. So I would put my child into a story with her grandmother, that kind of a thing. This depends on, of course, the details, on the complexity, the length, the style of illustration that you choose. So this would take about 3 to 8 weeks to turn around, depending on the details that you pick.
Okay.
That does sound very interesting. Very personalized, and yeah, that's lovely. So Sadia, what are your hopes? What are you trying to achieve with Storically?
My mission with Storically is for children, or I guess even adults, for people to be aware of their own personal histories, to connect with their own heritage, to know like details like where your grandmother went to school, how she, what she did, what adventures she had. Because research has shown that being connected to your own story, to your own history, it's it's very good for children. It builds better resilience. It makes
So it
you
roots
better at,
from that.
yeah, it builds, it makes you better at dealing with stress. And in one of the researches that I was reading, there was a phrase which really struck me. We often talk about a sense of self, and this research talked of a sense of transgenerational self, like the sense of being connected deeply to something bigger than yourself. And apparently, this is a very, very powerful thing that gives you confidence in your own identity. So this is basically what I want to achieve with Storically. As I say in the value proposition, it's to preserve personal history and amplify diversity. Diversity, of course, is just, if I had to sum it up in 2 words, I would say it's about love and acceptance. Like you have to know each other's authentic stories to connect in a meaningful way, to accept
Absolutely.
each other.
And is that, in your opinion, what makes Storically so unique and stands out from any other platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that you can share and amplify your story, your own unique personal story. Um, because what happens is that in a world that is fast shrinking, you have one dominant culture and a lot of color, a lot of richness. It tends to get lost or get ignored. So to just amplify voices, unique, non-stereotypical voices from different places, different cultures, I think that's a really, really powerful thing. It's really powerful for a child to know that they come from something special, which is enough, which is great. They don't have to change themselves to fit in.
Well said. Well said. I like the way you put that across. Now, I'm just going to kind of relate this to something personal. I mean, my daughter, she loves books, and
Mhm.
I can see that it has a kind of an impact on her with regards to cognitive development and perhaps understanding relationships, sometimes even developing empathy towards
Yes.
others. So I mean, according to you, why do you think children's books are so vital for their growth, kids in particular?
Oh, books are everything. Like through books, children, they get exposed to a reality beyond what they can actually experience in their everyday life. So that really, really broadens their mind. It broadens their perspective. As you said, it does play a huge role in developing empathy when you can get inside the head of another character. Now, TV and cartoons don't do that. They don't let you think the other person's thoughts. It also helps you develop a moral code, like you can see how actions and consequences are related in a very short span of time through
Mhm.
a story. Then, of course, there's imagination and visualization. As you read words, you visualize it in your own way. And this doesn't happen through any other medium. It cannot happen through watching cartoons, for instance, because everything is spoon fed to you when it is an audio visual medium. In books, it's like you pace it, you can pace it according to your understanding. Some children read things slowly because every word has a deeper meaning for them. Some skim through because that's their style. So reading a book itself is a personalized experience, and there's just so much to talk about around this. I mean, books are awesome.
True, true. I mean, I used to be an avid reader growing up, and one of the things I liked was the touch, feel, and the smell of
Oh
a
yeah.
book. Sometimes just lying down and even falling asleep with it. But now, with everything and everyone moving digitally, do you see children still reading hardcover books in the next 10 years? And will Storically ever go fully digital?
I think paper books will always be there. I think they're never going to go out of fashion. Um, You mentioned falling asleep with a book. I don't know if you've ever fallen asleep with a Kindle or an iPad and had it fall on your face while reading. It's quite painful. But no, I think paper books will always be there. Storically, as a platform, we won't go fully digital, but we do hope to go more digital. Like I see a large part of our strategy to have digital content in terms of audiobooks, ebooks, even videos, perhaps, purely because digital is the future and the reach with digital is huge. You can't ever reach the number of people you would reach electronically. Like print books can't compete with that. So if I want to
I
reach
totally
a lot
agree
of
with
people,
you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, if I could just, I'm really intrigued over here. I mean, I did something similar for my daughter for her first birthday where, I took all these photographs and kind of made it into a book so that she could see it like a story as to who all were there for her birthday celebration. Now, if, I want to have a book made for my kid on Storically, how would I do that? Could you take us through step by step?
Okay, so we have three ways that we can engage with people. If there is a story that you want to share, you can just type it up and send it to us, or we can send you writing prompts and questions that you could fill out, or we
Hmm.
could have a conversation like this where we talk about different things that are important to you in your life. And I would really encourage you to dig deeper, to talk about something that impacted you or some story that your grandparents used to tell you, or perhaps even go further back, some maybe a great grandfather who fought in a war or something, some story from that would be engaging to children. So personally for myself, I like how I start all my pitches is by telling people I am a princess, because my great grandmothers, there were these four generations of women who from 1800 to around 1900 ruled the city of Bhopal that I come from.
Wow.
And yeah, so every time I see my daughter
Wow.
going,
That's so
yeah,
cool. Oh my God. And like, I love
it
that.
is,
You just tell people I'm a princess. That's
yeah, I
wonderful.
do.
We are in the
So
presence of royalty.
Of royalty,
absolutely.
exactly.
So every time I see my daughter going nuts over Elsa, I try to tell her, look, there is Sikandar Jahan Begum, you need to know about her. And the idea started because I wanted to put her in a book, riding alongside Sikandar Jahan Begum as she rode in a palki. I'll explain what a palki is later, but on a horse entering the city to meet the Maharaja of Jaipur, being greeted by 200 elephants and drum beats and things like that. I'm like, that is in you. That is a part of your history. And that's as grand as Elsa is. So yes, celebrate Elsa, but know, the princesses in your life as well. So I would talk you through to bring up these kind of events from your life and
Hmm.
pick one which could be converted into a story. So usually when you have family heirloom books, they're with dates and lots of names of relatives, nothing like that. We pick one story which is engaging for a child, and we convert that into a book for your
Okay.
child to read and enjoy.
Okay. And are you involved in every single project, or is it a fairly automated process?
As of now, I'm involved in absolutely everything, in
Hmm.
every single project, in checking each printed book. But as we grow, we hope to have it more automated. We also hope to develop technology that helps us speed up the turnaround times in terms of illustration, editing, writing. But I think the first part of it, where we engage with people and come up with the story and edit it, that will always be a personal human thing.
Yeah, especially when it comes to anything personalized, I guess you can't really just depend on a
Yeah,
machine to do it for you. I guess that personal human element needs to be there to kind of make it extra special. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely. Absolutely. But I think technology can really assist human creativity. It can really assist human
For
connection.
sure, for sure.
So yeah, I do plan to explore how much uh, technology we can use to help us doing this in a better way.
Yeah, I mean, the way I
Great.
look at it is there are two ways to this, right? I mean, if I feel that I am an accomplished storyteller and I can tell my kids' story best, I wouldn't mind having an automated process where, I'm telling the machine, filling in all the information, and it's kind of bringing functional form to that vision that I have. And the other is where I
Yeah.
feel, I'd rather tell my story to a storyteller, and they kind of tell the story, in a format that's perhaps uh, best suited to
Yeah.
my little one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Okay, so Sadia, let's talk about the challenges that you first faced, or yeah, just that you faced when you were setting up Storically.
Oh,
Did you
so
have
many,
any?
so many. Yeah. Oh, it's all challenges. So there was funding, there was planning and strategy, there is technology. Because I'm a non-technical person, developing the website and the technology behind it has been a huge challenge. Then there is also, your own self-limiting beliefs and doubt. Like at every point you think, like, does this make sense? I love it. Will anyone else love it? That kind of thing. Then there is time management. There's all the multiple roles that you have to juggle. Mom guilt kicks in when your child comes and says, "Are you working again? Can we go out?" So there are so many challenges. But if you have a goal in mind, if there's something you want to achieve, then yeah, you work through them.
Okay. And I mean, has 2020 been a difficult year in that sense? Has COVID-19 had an impact on the success of your platform, either positively or negatively?
I think a little bit of both. It did slow us down in the beginning when we were just starting because everything shut down and schedules changed, and there was just this sense of fear and apathy. But then it turned around really quickly because it does give us access to a lot more in a shorter amount of time. Just the fact of being able to meet with people from home on Zoom electronically, it saves a lot of time. All the commute time I've saved is has been amazing. Participating in pitches electronically. The incubator program that we are in now is based in Abu Dhabi, but I don't have to drive to Abu Dhabi at all. So this has been a big blessing. The fact that working from home and meeting electronically is possible has really opened up a lot of avenues for a lot of people. I think for a lot of
Yeah, I
businesses,
think it
especially
was
home-based.
definitely something that everyone felt in their field, the possibilities that opened up with, finding out that, okay, you can actually do so much by just working digitally and just getting on a Zoom call,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely helps.
It has its challenges though, because the human face-to-face connection is something else. It's special, but yeah, give and take, positive and negative.
So,
For
will you
sure.
be developing a storyline around this life-altering pandemic as well? So, will there be like a pandemic story that parents can kind of fill in for their kids, saying, "This is what happened when you were 2 years old, and how the world changed
This is
during
what we
this
have to
time."
go through.
We have actually done a pandemic-based book on back to school, which deals with children's anxiety as they return to school.
Hmm.
So just about the new normal and how they have to wear masks and things. And we're working with a few schools with that story that addresses both children's anxiety and children's sheer delight at being allowed to go back to school after, I think it was March that schools closed, and then they only got to go back in September. So we've done one story around it, but that's a great idea. Yes.
Great. So Sadia, tell us, what is one of your proudest moments during your personal journey till this date?
My proudest moment. I think I'm going to narrow that down to just relate to starting Storically, because otherwise the journey, like when you're my age, it's been a pretty long journey. Um, I think being accepted into the incubator program in Abu Dhabi, it's called MAN. It's an incubator for businesses with a social impact. That was a real high point for me in starting up this venture, because uh, for the validation, for the support, for the funding that it provided. So yes, Pitching to Man and being accepted has been a real highlight. It's really given me the fuel to keep going.
Great. What plans do you have for Storically in this year, apart from what you mentioned already for the Ramadan books? Are you working on anything new, any exciting projects this year?
So 2021 is going to be a year where we set up and test all the ideas and product types that we have in mind. We will be developing stories. I hope to be able to launch a new title, say, every 2 months. We will also be working extensively on the write your own story concept, try to get more and more people on board to share stories, authentic stories from their lives in the form of a book. That is something that I really want to push for. We hope to do like story circles and just encourage people and get them to start talking about their lives a lot more.
Great. That
Nice.
sounds really wonderful. Yeah. So now we have come to the exciting segment of our show where we will each ask you a few rapid fire questions. Don't be alarmed. It's just simple questions, just off the top of your head, whatever comes to mind. Okay. Are you ready to play?
As soon as you say don't be alarmed, I'm alarmed. Yeah, go ahead. Shoot,
That's the point.
I'm ready.
No, I'm kidding. Okay. So what is your favorite book?
My favorite book, oh my God, there are so many. There are so many. I hate picking one, but I think there's one that I've read recently. It's called Letters to a Young Muslim by Omar Saif Kobash. I got it last year at the Emirates Lit Fest. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant non-fiction book that I'm going to keep for my children to read.
Okay,
Wonderful.
that's nice. And kind of moving along the same topic, 3 authors who inspire you.
Oh, 3. Okay. I would say Elif Shafak. I
Mhm.
love the cultural, the whole Turkish cultural thing. Mitch Albom. I like Mitch Albom a lot.
Mhm.
And there is a lady called Zanib Mia. She's done this hilarious children's book series called Planet Omar. So probably her. Yes, that's 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, great.
Only 3.
Do you prefer using Instagram or YouTube?
None.
Oh, not a social media
Social-
person.
Oh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I think it's just me. Yeah. If I had to pick one, I would say Instagram. I prefer using Instagram, but it's a challenge.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to go a bit personal. So, do you prefer writing in silence or do you prefer writing with music?
Silence.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I personally don't know how people can study with music, write with music. To me, it's so distracting. Like, any background noise just gets to me, and I'm like, I can't concentrate. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty amazing because I had a lot of friends that would study with like music blasting in their ears, and I'm like, how? How do you do that?
Yeah, I start listening to the lyrics of the song and analyzing them.
Exactly,
I
exactly. I do the
lose the
same
plot.
thing.
I would recommend instrumental music for both of you then.
Then I fall asleep.
Okay, and do you prefer independent bookshops or are you more of an Amazon gal?
Both. I love independent bookshops for their character, but Amazon is convenience. If I want
Of
it
course,
now,
yeah,
I get it now.
absolutely.
Amazon and Kindle combination, it's instant gratification. I love that.
Great. Well, Sadia, thank you so much for playing along. That was fun.
And yeah, now before we wrap up, we would like to do our famous green pill moment with you. So the question to you
Okay.
is, what was your green pill moment? That is the action or event that was the turning point for your career.
Okay. So if I had to pick one, I think I would pick something that a lot of people, men and women both, would empathize with. I think the moment that you become a parent is really pivotal. It turns everything around. It shifts your
Mm-hmm.
perspective on life itself. And if I look at my career path, I think the moment that I became a mother is really where I shifted from a design, architecture, lighting design kind of thing to something completely child focused, because all the meaning and becoming a parent, holding a child in your arms for the first time, nothing really prepares you for it. There's euphoria, excitement, joy, terror, all together. And suddenly it's not about you anymore. Melvin, you're a dad, you would
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I
All
can so relate to. I mean, it's almost like in a catharsis when you're talking about all of this. So
Yeah. So it's like suddenly, you're like, what can I do for this little thing? How can I, content, like children's content, how do I shape things which make which which bring meaning and which make sense for my child. So I would say it's all about how do I make the world better, kinder for my child, for all children, and how do I make my child and all children better and kinder for the world. So
that's
yeah, being a
brilliantly
parent.
put. That's brilliantly put. I always thought marriage was going to be a life changer, but turns out it was becoming a parent is the actual, turning point.
Yeah,
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 I don't
totally.
know why marriage is painted as like this big life-changing moment, because all it is kind of a contract that just kind of makes it more legit. But if you've, if you've already been with someone for so long, let's say, in that case, it's not that big of a thing. You've been with this person
Yeah.
already.
Oz, we'll have this
I think because
conversation once you are married. Yeah.
no, I I think because you get to dress up and have a big party and stuff. That's marriage.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't get to
Well,
do that when you're having a child. Trust me.
true. Well, thank you so much for that. That was excellent. Before we say our goodbyes, could you share with us the social media handles of Storically? So if I'm not mistaken, the website is www.storically.com.
Yes, absolutely. Instagram is at Storically with an underscore at the end. So at Storically underscore is where you'll find us on Instagram. On Facebook, we are Storically. I think it's at the Storically. And we're there on LinkedIn as well. The best way to get in touch would be on email, info@storically.com. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank
Thank you.
you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
We
I'm
both
sure
did.
Mel did as well. Yes. We wish you and Storically all the very best. Thank you again.
Thank you, Shireen. Thank you, Melvin. I've really enjoyed being here.
We wish you good luck for your future.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.